it'll be a lot, yeah, I was going to say it'll be a lot easier if I could use
I'll just mosey onto the side and wait. Do one more first.
I'll have you and Grace, if you want to hop in on this with us, you can. We'll have you just stand here and have everyone behind you, and then we'll bring our cameras up.
Thanks, boss. Appreciate it.
You want me to
No. Where are we drinking?
Right here.
One time.
Where'd you go with this? My heart goes like that.
Are both you standing on the right?
That might be
That's okay.
it was like,
No, that's good. Yeah. Let's just sneak it in here.
thank you.
Equally out.
Okay, that's like, I'm like reading good.
I'd love if y'all could. Yeah.
Would you give me a split now?
Hey, Chris. Yep.
We're going to do a temperature.
This way towards the base there.
Want that one? And Eric will have everyone behind us so that we go too. Thank you so much. That's stealing your stuff away from you.
Yeah. So I can't speak directly to that, but today, as far as getting in with that, safe staffing is part of that. Care for our patients, so we're really focusing on that aspect as well as all the others, and we need a stronger to develop that.
I want to talk about the staff concerns. Is it more patients than nurses?
All of it is, we have higher acuity, our population is getting sicker and sicker, so it's important for us to be
Excuse me. Sorry.
Oh, so sorry. So sorry.
We're just live.
Because of unsafe staffing. We're having really high nurse to patient ratios, and it's just leaving room for us to make errors that could be preventable and not giving our patients the care that they deserve. Yeah. So specifically, I work on mother babies. I personally speak to high floor. Normally, as far as right now, we are one nurse working with 8 patients. It's 4 moms and 4 babies. And, you know, if we were just able to invest in more recruitment and retention limited on what we have, we should be able to fill in that gap. Ascension has the resources. We know that their net profit in the fiscal year was $6.4 billion. So the resources are there, and we're trying to get them on board to give us those resources. And we've gotten a lot of pushback on the response. So we're hoping that today brings a lot of awareness to our community on the importance of that. So it's causing nurse-to-patient response time to be slower. We have bullets going on. All staff is short, and it's causing room for errors. I mean, we're delaying things because we're, with other patients. Also, I feel like a big part of my job is educating patients. We educate moms and babies on the safety of their care and the safety of their baby going home. And if we're having to lessen that or decrease that because we have other patients to attend to, I don't feel like that's something that we should be decreasing for their safety. Morale, I feel like, is hard. I mean, we have a lot of morale teams from different areas, and I feel like right now we're focusing on that being unable to get the point across that safe staffing needs to be mandated. So we're feeling a lot from, not morale from our people on the floor, but really the morale from our company, putting that down on us, making us feel like we, aren't doing things for our patients when really they have the resources to do that, and it's just that we
You mentioned something, knowing that you're I talked to you a little bit before, wanted to talk to but you know that yours is possible and you still have that staffing issue. Does that feel like a big scare, knowing that that can be addressed?
Right. I feel like at the bargaining table, we've kind of gotten a lot of mixed emotions, and we're really focusing on that safe staffing. And now knowing that the responses that we have been getting, knowing that we have those resources, and it's not that we don't have them, it's that we can't or we aren't giving them, is hard. We want our patients to be safe, and that's the most important.
Do you feel like the pandemic really pushed the schools as well, not just the individual was before, but you think that would be a little bit?
Not cause to safe staffing, but I feel like it brought out a lot of the importance that retaining, new nurses and recruiting, newer ones and retaining the staff that we have. Just that importance just shows that, we are at the bedside here seeing the care, so we're the ones that know that it's, unsafe to have those ratios. So that would bring out a lot.
And that was kind of my last question. When we talk about conditions and safety, some of those things that specifics really do come down to just the amount of exposure to hospital patients. What are some of those things that maybe we see and maybe don't test?
Yeah, so kind of like I spoke to earlier, just not being responsive enough to our patients. And for me, mostly it's the education portion. I feel like education is a big portion of our job, and if there are several other patients that have their needs to, get them home safely, I don't feel like that's an area that I want to cut corners on just because our staff is short. Mainly, I just feel like people, putting out the awareness that safe staffing is important, and we're running for that because we want our patients to be safe. We know the resources are there, and we just want to bring it to them. We know that.
I just have one quick one for my brother. When we look at the market coming out and talking about labor, expenses, knowing that you do have a problem with how many years that can make those changes, when you say that, and then how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it just pushes us that much harder to be helpful and to know that we can all work together to improve that. Like I said, we know that the resources are there, so we just can all work together at the bargaining table to bring that to life. Thank you. Kind of unsure. I can't really speak to that right now. We're just thankful that, we bring awareness to the community and everyone comes to see that this is important and we just want the safety for everyone.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry, really good.
Hey folks, can you hear me? Okay, wonderful. So we're going to get started very soon. If you got here early, awesome. Check in over at that table to grab an NNU mask and an LED candle. And we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. And if you're speaking tonight, come over here and we can chat real quick.
Thank you.
Hi. How are you? Did you work last night too? Oh my gosh, you're dedicated. Just crazy. Hello. Are you going No, tonight is bonus now. Alright, so we're more than halfway. Oh yeah, I only have one more after this. Yeah. I just was like thinking, oh, they're gonna look like. That's fair. I think a lot of people feel that way. I will split it. She's very I will not take a full. I'll take half. I do it for That's why I was going to pick up the baby, but I don't know. Downside to keep tea candles. I need to trade somebody.
it's better than nothing.
And folks, once you've gotten signed in, and you've got your mask and you've got your candle, you can line up on the sidewalk where we all were before. That would be wonderful.
We did Dallas, Chicago, now Austin, now so it's like we restart every already said we tried
Might work it won't
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming and standing out here in solidarity with us, requesting quality patient care and safe staffing for our community. My name is Lucy.
Excuse me, sir, sorry. Just trying to live stream.
At Ascension Seton. It's now been over 2 months since we began our first contract negotiations. And tonight, we're here to mourn Ascension Administration's abandonment of quality patient care, specifically safe staffing. Unfortunately, Ascension's behavior is not unique among the corporate healthcare industry, which is why tonight's action is taking place alongside actions by hundreds of other nurses across the country, including Ascension's Via Christi St. Francis Hospital in Wichita, Kansas, who voted to join NNU a little over a month after us. Tonight, you're going to hear from nurses and members of our community about why these issues, particularly safe staffing, are so important, and why Ascension needs to invest in safe staffing. Plus, we'll get to do some chanting. So to kick it off, this is Vito for Medicine.
Thanks for coming, everybody. My name is Lito de la Cruz. I'm a registered nurse at Ascension Seton, and I am the bargaining team member for medical surgical unit. I've worked in my unit, pulmonary renal unit, for almost 7 years. We take vulnerable, acute chronic patients that issue with their lungs and kidneys. Our patients have trouble process eliminating toxin in their bodies. So each unit takes care of different level of patient's acuity. In our unit, the safest maximum numbers of patients for a nurse to take care is 4 patients. Unfortunately, management has been pushing us to take up to 6 patients. In oncology, it's only safe for nurses to take care of 4 patients who are on chemotherapy. Chemo is a very sensitive process. We need to be able to ensure that we're controlling for patient side effects. Unfortunately, Ascension pushing for 5 patients during the day and 6 patients during the night of all med-surg unit. In orthopedic floor, we need at least 4 support staff patients, which is PCT. help our patient to walk as part of the recovery. So surgeon, doctors, they advise to after surgery they need to walk. So for fasting, Ascension has cut down our techs to 2. So patients aren't getting the attention they need to do the most important things. They need to do as part as their recovery. It's a similar story in our stroke unit. Cutting support staff harms our patient and their recovery. And also we just find out 5th floor are opening another 32 beds despite of safe staffing and also unsafe environment. Ascension is making unsafe decisions for float nurses for safety staff units away from the bedside. In some cases, floating them to administrative non-patient care duties, this is not only doesn't make sense, but also unsafe for our patient and causes moral injury to us as a nurse. We have, as a nurses union, come together to make proposal to change this situation, including have real voice through an all-RN professional practice committee that is in charge in making ongoing patient-centered proposal to management. We made the proposal on the first day of bargaining, and 2 months later, we have not heard response from Ascension. So sad. It is deeply disappointing that while our patient suffer, Ascension continues to ignore this critical staffing issue. But we have seen some progress after nurses push back. We have seen them make some staffing improvements in a couple of units, and we know nurses and patients across our hospital deserve the same level of dignity and respect. We stand together as a nurses, as a patient, as a community, and show Ascension that we will never give up until we have the resources needed to deliver quality of patient, and we will win.
Now we're going to hear from Jason Lopez from the Austin Central Labor Council.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all? As you just said, my name is Jason Lopez, and I am a proud union member in Austin, Texas. I'm here on behalf of the Austin Central Labor Council, and its many affiliates here in the Austin area. We represent tens of thousands of working people in this community. And I just want to say that we here stand behind the nurses who are in this struggle for safe staffing levels and other benefits that not only support them in their work, but also all of this community and providing health care to this community. I'm a proud member of AFL-CIO Local 1624. We represent city and county workers, public employees. So I can relate to how not only are you organizing around your own working conditions, but you're organizing around providing good, safe, public benefit to the people you're providing the service to. And that's almost more important than what the individual rights that you're fighting for. It's just as important. And so I stand with solidarity, with you all in solidarity. I want you all to stand strong in your struggles for what you're fighting for, and know that the Austin community and the labor community especially is here standing up with you. And that's all I wanted to say today. Stay strong, and to Seton and Ascension, we know that the working people in this community know what's best for how they do their jobs, and you should listen to them. You should bargain in good faith, and you should sit down and have a good contract that is at the best benefit for both the nurses who are working here and the greater community at large. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. So now I'm going to go ahead and deliver some, they're pretty shocking, honestly, some remarks that were written by Helen Gildersleeve. She's a high-risk maternal transport nurse in our labor and delivery unit at Seton, Maine. And she wrote some really, truly shocking remarks about the current staffing crisis in the unit. The current staffing crisis in our high-risk labor and delivery unit is extremely precarious. For years, prior to the pandemic, L&D nurses raised concerns that the rigid staffing grids handed down from Ascension would lead to ratios so tight that it would ultimately lead to reduced quality of care. Over the past year and a half, we've seen our typical number of deliveries increase from an average of 350 a month to around 450 to 500 a month. Simultaneously, have lost over half of our permanent and core staff nurses because nurses are unwilling to sacrifice their license or their mental health to work under conditions that so clearly run counter to the type of nursing care they're called to provide. In case you are not aware, Texas has infamously high complications and death related to pregnancy. The Texas Department of State Health Services reviewed 64 pregnancy-related deaths from 2019. 58 of those deaths were deemed preventable. 58 deaths were preventable. Among those deaths, the leading cause was obstetrical hemorrhage. During an obstetrical hemorrhage, seconds matter. Having the hands available to do the multiple, simultaneous, life-saving tasks matters. It is obvious to any nurse that safe staffing saves lives. We are all left to continually wonder why hospital executives do not prioritize it. For many members of our community, when they come in to deliver their baby, it is often their first introduction to a hospital environment. If we want to create a sense of trust between our community and our hospital, it is imperative that we make patients feel safe throughout their labor experience and postpartum stay. Our unit had to indefinitely cancel elective inductions for months. New research has actually recategorized these as risk-reducing inductions because they reduce the chance of complications for pregnant patients and their babies. Because of the inadequate staffing, these patients do not have access to this important service. Even worse than this, we've also had to delay scheduled inductions and C-sections that are medically indicated by hours or even days. Just this past month, our assignment spite objection forms have documented glaring care delays. We have patients sitting in our OB triage with their bag of water broken the entire 12-hour shift, waiting for a nurse to become available to safely start their induction. We've had patients sitting in our OB triage laboring with the worst pain of their life without anesthesia for hours, putting them at risk of PTSD and postpartum depression. We've had patients arrive only to find that their baby no longer has a heartbeat. And in this devastating time, there's no nurse to sit by their side to support them through one of the worst outcomes imaginable, because she's busy caring for 4 other patients. It is for all of these reasons that nurses from our unit signed and delivered a letter to management to request a meeting specifically to address the unsafe and unethical conditions in our obstetrical triage unit. We want to be able to collaborate with management and on nurse source solutions. Open and honest communication is key to ensuring safe care. And shutting down feedback and suggestions from the very people performing that care flies in the face of everything that we should be trying to do. We are giving Ascension an opportunity today to do the right thing and staff our unit appropriately with a minimum of 2 senior, experienced L&D triage nurses at all times. This is the only way to ensure safe and quality care for our patients and our community. We can do better. Thank you. Really powerful testimonial from Helen. Taylor is now going to lead us in some really fun chants, guys.
Hello. Thank you for being here today. So we're going to do some chants to exercise our voices as nurses so that we can continue to raise these concerns. If management didn't hear us before, I hope they hear us now. It's just going to be like, safe staffing saves lives. Y'all got it? We have some rhythmically challenged folks. Just follow the other ones, okay? All right. Safe staffing saves lives. 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 Safe staffing. Oh, there it is. Because I feel like it's very on point. So it's going to be, hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. The corporate greed has to go, guys. Okay? Ready? Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this corporate greed has got to go. Hey, hey. We just have to make sure we get some really great footage on that one. You don't want that? You don't want all that? Corporate greed has to go in healthcare.
Thanks, Taylor. So now we're going to hear from Anna. She's from the Texas AFL-CIO.
Hi everyone, how are we doing? Buenas tardes. My name is Ana Gonzalez. I work at the Texas AFL-CIO, which represents 240,000 affiliated working people across Texas, including members of the National Nurses Union. I am here today in solidarity with nurses at Ascension Seton Medical Center and NICU nurses across the country demanding safe staffing. Yes. Nurses were and still are at the front lines of a pandemic that exposed the long-standing need for changes in how hospitals do business. Today's collective action sends a clear message. Ascension Seton must address concerns raised by nurses about patient care and stop ignoring their demand. Do we want that? Yes! Yes! What do we want? Safe staffing! When do we want it? Now! We're disappointed in their inaction and hope that the Ascension administration will listen to nurses' solutions for safe staffing. No more putting profits over patients. We are proud to stand in solidarity with all of you. Thank you for your fight and for standing at the forefront of patient care. Safe staffing now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna. So now we're going to hear from Matt, who works in the ICU.
All right, how's everybody doing? So my name is Matthew Clark. I'm a nurse at Seton Medical Center, Austin, and I work in one of the ICUs. I've been there for a little over 7 years now. It's no secret that staffing and patient-to-nurse ratios have a direct link to the safety of our patients and the quality of care that they receive. Numerous studies have identified this link. When units are short-staffed, it leaves patients in a vulnerable position where they're at an increased risk or increased length of stay, readmissions to the hospital, preventable medical errors, avoidable complications, and even potential death while under our care. To throw salt in the wound, short staffing conditions also impacts the nurse, causing moral distress and moral injury, leading to job dissatisfaction and loss of retention. This only further compounds staffing issues that we are experiencing at Seton Maine. We're here to say that Ascension Seton Medical Center Austin has a staffing problem. We also have a problem with our administration over short staffing. Numerous units, including my unit in the ICU, have delivered notices to our administration and to Ascension of our desire to meet with them and work with them over some patient-centered proposals that we feel will help to improve our ability to safely staff our units now. Unfortunately, in many of the units, we have been met with, and unfortunately, with many of the units, we've been met with basically a cold shoulder and dismissal. In one of our ICUs, their response was, there is no staffing problem at Seton. Staffing here is fine. Again, staffing is not fine at Seton.
Our current policy doesn't even address the short staffing until we are 20% understaffed for the unit. And even despite that, my colleagues and I get often daily and even multiple times a day pleas from our management to come in and help out and do extra. Again, in the ICU where I work, short staffing can lead to delays in patient care, delays in critical assessments that can identify conditions and changing conditions in patients. It even impacts our ability to respond to emergencies that happen either out in the community that are admitted through our ER into our ICU or within our own facility. Again, I'm here to say staffing at Seton Main is not fine. We are out here in protest over the short staffing and over the lack of effort from Ascension to address this very serious issue. We demand that Ascension comes to the table now to work with us to come up with these patient-centered solutions that we feel, again, will have an immediate impact in our ability to start staffing the unit safely now while we continue to work towards longer-term solutions over our general contract negotiations. Ascension, I'm hoping you're hearing us now.
Thank you so much, Matt. Now we are going to hear from Natasha, who works in the neonatal ICU.
Oh, okay.
Good? All right. Good evening, guys. Thank you for coming together this... All right, we good? Let's do it. All right, good evening, and thank you for coming together tonight in solidarity. We have gathered tonight to be seen, heard, and advocate for safe staffing and patient care for all of our Austin community. My name is Natasha Gossick, and I'm a master's prepared registered nurse in maternal and newborn health. I'm also a board-certified lactation consultant. For over 15 years, I have worked in the Austin area providing families care from labor and delivery, antepartum, postpartum, and newborn care. Today, I currently work in the Level 3 Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, the NICU, at Ascension Seton Medical Center. We take care of the smallest, most fragile, and critically ill members of not only the Austin community, but that of the greater Central Texas area. We know that the average infant will be delivered around 9 months, 38 to 42 weeks. Despite some great effort, little ones come to us as early as 22 weeks. That's an amazing 20 weeks early or 5 months premature. These babies weigh less than 1 pound, the weight of a soccer ball, and maybe the size of a mango. Together, we work together to provide these humans the closest possible environment to their mother's womb. Sounds simple, right? Believe it or not, it takes a team of providers working closely together day in and day out. We are responsible for accurately providing warmth and nourishment for these small babies to grow and survive. In short, we are struggling to safely provide this care on many levels. We rely heavily on adequately trained and staffed milk technicians, or I like to call them milk managers, to safely prepare, handle, and manage all of our babies' milk. This role is important for all of our infants, but it is most critical for the tiniest of all. Breast milk, we know, is a medicine. It is a magical living source of proteins, fats, sugars, vitamins, minerals, and antibodies. But it is fragile and can easily be spoiled and misprepared. If thawed for too long or at too high of a temperature, breast milk's magic breaks down. If fortified with too many or too little calories and nutrients that was specifically ordered for an infant, harm will come to that infant. If prepared in a dirty environment, harmful bacteria will reach that infant. And instead of providing immune-supporting properties and nutrition, it is possible that this breast milk is now doing harm. Our tiniest NICU babies are at a significantly increased risk of necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC. This is when their immature bowel is injured and can no longer hold and manage weight. It is a critical life-threatening condition. Now this priceless medicine of breast milk becomes harmful and is wasted. The long hours and hard work of pumping milk by our NICU mothers often is the only way that they feel they're bonding and caring for their tiny little babies is completely dismissed. The kindness of the mothers in our Austin community who have donated their breast milk to the Austin Milk Bank, specifically for the tiniest and most critically ill babies, is dismissed. The waste and mismanagement of breast milk is being dismissed. We addressed our concerns with the Ascension regarding the lack of adequately trained and staffed milk technicians on our unit. We outlined the importance of milk technician and presented a proposal requesting at minimum one trained milk technician to be staffed daily, without exception, and we were dismissed. Ascension responded on January 10th rejecting our proposal and that it was their intention to always staff a milk tech.
Boo.
I can verify that this has not been the case. Since January 10th, at least 6 days were reported where we had no milk technician. Majority of these days, nursing was critically short, adding the delicate task of preparing milk to their patient care assignments. In just these 17 days since Ascension's rejection of our proposal, many milliliters of breast milk have been wasted, close to 550 milliliters. This was to no one person's individual error. Some of these days, a nurse was pulled from bedside staffing to mix milk, albeit helpful, but that then left the unit another bedside nurse short. I can verify every bedside nurse in our unit works at their personal best to provide safe, skilled care for our babies. We know that research shows that assigning nurses too many patients and too many tasks to safely care for at once leads to ongoing moral distress, increased risk for preventable medical errors, avoidable complications, an increased length of stay for our infants, and even potential death. We are human and can only safely do so much. Too many nurses are driven away from our facilities or even direct patient care entirely. They no longer wish to risk their licenses or the safety of their patients by working in unsafe conditions imposed by the profit-driven employers. It is they, Ascension, who have created our staffing crisis. It is unbelievably sad that Ascension ignores our concerns. In fact, just this past Tuesday, our most recent day at the bargaining table with Ascension, our unit management explicitly told us to no longer record wasted milk in our hospital and network-based electronic error recording system. We are being dismissed and silenced. We need help. We need Ascension to hear our voices and our concerns for the safety, survival, and optimal care of our patients. Safe staffing is key to attracting and retaining nurses, which is why management needs to invest in their nurses and their staff. United together, all Seton May nurses will no longer tolerate patient safety being dismissed anymore. We are our patients, even the tiniest, best, and strongest advocates for safe, quality care. Thank you.
That was awesome, Natasha. This is one of our biggest supporters here, too. So next we're going to hear from Diana Gomez from the Office of Representative Greg Casar.
This over here.
Hi, my name is Diana Gomez, and I am the Deputy District Director for Congressman Greg Casar. Congressman Casar is currently in D.C. right now for votes, but wanted to make sure to send a message of solidarity to all of you because you are what gives him and us hope. Your commitment to your patients and to each other is inspiring folks across the entire state because we know that during these contract negotiations, you're fighting for us. You're fighting for the best patient care, protections. You're fighting for safe staffing ratios. You're fighting for the health and safety of every Austinite. Congressman Casar likes to use this definition of hope from activist Rebecca Solnit. Hope is not a lottery ticket that you clutch onto to make yourself feel better. It's an axe that we use to knock down doors in case of an emergency. And this union is using their voices, using their axes to fight for Austinites during this emergency, just as you have for years and for decades. Please know that our office and our community is picking up our axes to help you too. Solidarity.
Thank you so much, Diana. Next, we're going to hear from Ryan Pollock from IBEW Local 520.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Pollock, and I'm a journeyman electrician and member and representative of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 520. We construction workers here in Texas understand what it means to be spread too thin, to be pushed beyond safe and healthy physical and mental limits, to be pushed to compromise our craft and our mission for the sake of the bottom line. We understand what it means to be an essential worker and the pressures of growing demand for our skills and a tightening labor pool, while also experiencing the frustrations of worsening conditions, low appreciation, and all signs pointing to an even more bleak future for our careers. My local has lost an unprecedented number of good brothers and sisters over the last few years, be it from disease or despair. And all of the directly craft-related safety training in the world doesn't change the fact that we're expected to go to work every day, put in a good shift, knowing that Texas is the most dangerous state in the union for our line of work. A construction worker dies on the job in Texas every 3 days. We're expected to put in a good shift knowing that. Along with healthcare workers, construction is among the careers with the highest rates of substance abuse. And just behind fossil fuel extraction workers, construction workers have the highest rate of suicide among any other workers. I say this, and yet I still can't imagine the immense trauma that our healthcare workers have endured for the sake of the rest of us. I know that they've suffered for it, continue to suffer, and I know that while some difficult aspects of their work will always remain, it absolutely doesn't have to be as bad as it is. Their choices, these are choices that prioritize profit over workers, over their patients, over the rest of us. Understanding what I now understand about the current state of healthcare in this country, I'm terrified of the prospect of being hospitalized. Any of y'all terrified? And that's despite our skilled and caring healthcare workers, not because of them. I don't make VIP wing money, and I'm sure most of the rest of us don't either. VIPs don't have to wonder if the person charged with healing them isn't on their second or third double shift for this week. So we hold this vigil to remember and reflect on what we've all been forced to endure together as workers, brothers and sisters, patients, and as a community. We reflect so that we can find the strength, the pride in ourselves to be there for those who need us and for each other. We reflect so that we can find the strength for justice. Nurses, brothers and sisters, you don't walk alone. Your struggles are our struggles. We're here with you all the way. Don't hesitate to lean on us. Solidarity.
Thank you so much for that support, Ryan. It was really great. We're going to kick off another round of chants with Taylor.
I know you guys are excited. Like, let's go. So I also want to just make it very clear that Ascension, during the fiscal year of 2021, had a net profit of $6.4 billion.
With a B, it's a nonprofit.
Billion. As a nonprofit hospital chain. So we are very confused when our staffing levels are not to par and are not at the quality that this community deserves. So on that note, we need to make sure that we are still using our voices, collectively coming together, encouraging other folks that we work beside, that there's something we can do. And we will continue on now with the chant. It's going to be Nurses United Will Never Be Defeated. And I think we should also try to direct our voices into this building. I think this is where we should be focusing our energy. All right, ready? The nurses united will never be defeated. The nurses united will never be defeated. The nurses united will never be I just have to do it long enough to make sure these folks all caught it. Did y'all get it? Y'all got a good shot? Okay, onward. Thank you. Good job, guys.
Thanks, Taylor. Now we're going to hear some remarks from Christine, who works in the mother-baby department at Seton Medical.
Hey everyone, my hands are frozen right now, so just bear with me. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Christine, and I'm a nurse at Ascension Seton Austin and Mother Baby. I've been a nurse for about 4 years. Every day we're blessed with the opportunity to care for families and the new addition to their lives, ensuring that they have the tools, the confidence, and the education to continue safely caring for themselves and their baby at home. Our amazing team of nurses take pride in making sure that our families are cared for with the patience they deserve, the compassion they deserve and need during this time in their lives, and most importantly, with the level of safety they deserve every single shift. A big part of what we do as mother-baby nurses is educating families every step of the way so that they feel confident bringing their baby home. I can imagine that any parent can relate to the overwhelming changes that come with bringing their newborn home for the first time. Our patient population across the hospital is becoming sicker. Patients are higher acuity than they ever have been before, and it is our job as nurses to have the resources we need to provide safe care 100% of the time. We started this journey as a whole after our decision to bring a union to Austin a few months ago. Together, we decided that we needed to ensure our patients would get the quality and safe care that they deserve and the safe care that we owe them as their providers. Being deprived of that because of staffing issues isn't something that we stand behind in solidarity. Safe staffing is an industry problem, not just a unit-specific problem. There isn't one person in our hospital that isn't affected by the staffing crisis. We also started out hopeful in Mother Baby and recently came together in solidarity with an idea to help improve our staffing needs. Our acuity is high, our nurse-to-patient ratios is unacceptable. Without adequate staff, there continues to be delays in nurse-to-patient response time, increased room for errors that are preventable, and a delay in completion of necessary tasks for both mom and baby. That causes inadequate education time and teaching for our families. Remember when I said earlier that education is one of the most important parts of our job. We delivered a petition as well to management with a petition to management with overwhelming majority support showing our need for change and received a response from management stating that, quote, the employer feels that changes are not necessary, end quote. Nurses not being able to educate their patients thoroughly because they have 3 other moms and 3 other babies with needs is not a concern, apparently. The missed lunches we've accumulated because we have tasks that need to be completed on time for 4 moms and 4 babies. Errors that could have been avoided if staffing was required. And the obvious threat to patient safety when we are responsible for 8 patients to 1 nurse. Those are all concerns that we brought to the table that are necessary to change. And the problem is that they don't see what we see and have decided not to trust our clinical judgment. While we are disappointed that this has been management's decision, we are not going to back down until our moms and babies are getting safe care from the moment they arrive to the moment that they leave. That begins with safe staffing ratios. A nursing shortage isn't what we're experiencing. What we're experiencing is a shortage of nurses willing to risk their license and the safety of their patients because of unsafe staffing and unsafe conditions. Instead of focusing on profit, investing in recruitment and retention of nurses should be the main focus to improve our staffing ratios across our hospital. Without that, the shortage of nurses will only continue at the hands of our own employer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine. I'd now like to introduce Connor. He is our NNOC NNU Assistant Director of Organizing.
Good evening, everyone. It's really nice to see so many nurses out here. This is a really impressive turnout tonight, so you should give yourselves a round of applause. I think you're sending a really strong message to Ascension, who seem to have locked up today. And obviously, they must have gotten the message because they didn't turn up, right? It's really, really amazing. I just wanted to say, as someone who oversees the organizing program for the union, you know, we have seen all of you be a real inspiration for nurses across Texas and across the country. You know, I've spoken to nurses from Louisiana, from Maine, from many places throughout this nation, who've said that they've seen things about what you all are doing out here, and they're really impressed, and it's inspirational for them. So I thought that you all should know that, just that the work you're doing out here is really changing other people's lives too, really far away. So we're really proud of what you're doing. On the point of sending a message to Ascension, which you obviously have done,